When 73 alien warships appeared in Earth's orbit with weapons charged, humanity had no defense, no unified fleet, no advanced technology that could stop extinction. But humanity had something else, something no other species in the galaxy possessed. For 200,000 years, every human who ever lived made the same choice in their final moment: acceptance. We befriended the one thing every other species feared. We befriended death itself. This is the story of first contact, of sacrifice, of the day humanity learned that our mortality wasn't a weakness to overcome. It was a weapon no one saw coming. Dr. Mara Chin's fingers trembled against the neural interface crown, ceramic nodes cold as grave markers against her temples. 67 hours into her global consciousness mapping experiment, and the readings made no sense. 8 billion human minds were synchronizing.
Dr. Chin, this is impossible. Individual consciousness patterns don't just align, not without external stimulus.
But Mara's holographic display told a different story. Humanity's collective unconscious was organizing itself, responding to her experimental probe like a massive organism waking from sleep. Voting patterns, medical records, census data, everything flowing toward a single concept that pulsed with increasing intensity: death.
Oh God, the probe isn't mapping their consciousness. It's connecting it. We've created a...
Her console erupted in alarms, defense satellites screaming warnings. 73 massive objects had just decelerated from hyperspace beyond Luna's orbit. Hull signatures matched nothing in Earth's database. But their weapon systems were unmistakable, particle cannons capable of glassing continents. First contact. And they were hostile.
How long until firing range?
38 minutes, Doctor. Maybe less.
Mara looked at her neural interface readings. 8 billion humans, their minds accidentally linked by her experiment, all sensing the same thing: threat, extinction, the end. And they were voting. Every human consciousness casting a ballot for the same ancient ally they'd known for 200,000 years.
We're going to need him. We're going to need death.
Aboard the Shard Dreadnought inevitable purpose. 38 minutes until firing range. Admiral Zyrathal's crystalline carapace hummed as she reviewed the tactical assessment one final time. Her career had been flawless for 3 decades. 17 successful pacification operations, 0 casualties among her command. But the disaster at Vrexus III haunted her still. That colony had fought back with desperate ferocity, and she'd lost 3 ships before achieving victory. The Matriarchy High Command had been disappointed. This operation would restore her reputation, a clean conquest, no complications.
Species, Homo sapiens, threat level negligible. They're primitive, Admiral. No unified defense grid, no coherent military doctrine. Their largest military powers are currently engaged in territorial disputes with each other.
Zyrathal studied the blue marble rotating below. So similar to other Class M worlds she'd conquered, yet something about it made her uneasy. Call it predator's instinct.
What about their consciousness profiles?
Individual neural patterns, typical mammalian configurations, nothing that would suggest psionic capability or gestalt potential, though there is one anomaly.
Specify.
There's an experimental consciousness probe active planetside. Academic research, likely, no military applications, but it's creating some unusual resonance patterns across their population.
Zyrathal dismissed it with a wave of her foreclaw. Academic research posed no tactical threat.
Weapons status.
Particle cannons at 80% charge. Targeting solutions locked on 8 major population centers. Estimated casualties from initial strike: 43% of total population. Standard matriarchy protocol.
8 billion red markers pulsed on her tactical display. 8 billion lives that would end when she gave the command. Zyrathal felt no satisfaction in it, only duty. The Shard Matriarchy had brought order to 70 star systems. Humanity would simply be number 71.
Commence final approach. Charge weapons to full. Fire when...
Admiral, massive quantum disturbance. The consciousness probe, it's creating a cascade effect. The humans, their neural patterns are synchronizing, all 8 billion of them.
Zyrathal's confidence evaporated.
That's impossible. Individual species cannot achieve Gestalt consciousness without technological augmentation.
Her instruments showed otherwise. 8 billion separate consciousness signatures were flowing together like water finding its level. Not forced, not controlled, voluntary. And they were all focused on one concept.
By the void, what are they thinking about?
The answer appeared on every screen simultaneously, translated by their linguistic AI into a single word that made Zyrathal's blood run cold. Death. In her laboratory, Dr. Mara Chin's neural interface burned against her temples. She felt it. The moment 8 billion human minds touched hers through the probe. Not invading, not demanding, simply joining. And in that joining, she understood the terrible beauty of what humanity had become. For 200,000 years, every human who'd ever lived had made the same choice. Not in councils or elections, but in the final moment before darkness. They'd accepted death, befriended it, made peace with the one certainty the universe offered. Every funeral, a prayer. Every cemetery, a monument. Every final breath, a vote cast for the oldest ally humanity had ever known. Mara felt her heart stop, literally stop, for 3 eternal seconds as something ancient turned its attention toward Earth. Through her probe, she felt death itself stirring, recognizing that its favorite children were calling for help.
Oh God, he's coming.
The voice came from nowhere and everywhere at once. Not through Zyrathal's communication systems. Those remained silent, their security protocols intact. Not through her translator AI, which sat idle despite processing a human language. The voice simply was, inside her mind, inside every mind aboard her flagship.
Admiral Zyrathal.
It sounded like one person. It sounded like billions, both at once. Zyrathal's sensor technician collapsed, mandibles clicking in distress. Around the bridge, officers clutched their heads as consciousness touched consciousness without permission, without technology, without any mechanism that made sense.
I am Dr. Mara Chin. You've come to destroy us. That's understandable. We probably look weak to you, divided, easy prey.
Cut this transmission.
But her communications officer shook their head helplessly.
Admiral, there is no transmission. They're not using technology. Somehow they're in our thoughts.
In 30 seconds, your weapons will be in firing range. You'll kill billions of us. But before you do, I need to tell you something important.
You have no defense against what's coming, human. Your species
belongs to someone else.
The words landed like a physical blow. Zyrathal felt her carapace crack audibly.
We've lived with death for 200,000 years, Admiral. Every culture, every generation, we've made him ours, written poetry about him, built monuments to him, given ourselves to him completely.
This is psychological warfare. Primitive intimidation tactics.
He's waking up, Admiral.
Zyrathal's tactical display erupted in warnings, quantum distortions rippling across Earth's surface. Not explosions, not weapons fire. Something worse, reality itself was bending around a presence too large to measure. In her laboratory, Mara Chin felt tears streaming down her face as 8 billion human consciousnesses flowed through her neural probe. She was a conduit now, speaking for every human who'd ever accepted their mortality and, in accepting it, had chosen death as their guardian.
You're about to meet him, Death himself. And Admiral, he's very particular about his property.
Temperature readings across Zyrathal's bridge dropped 15 degrees in 3 seconds. Officers gasped as their breath misted in front of their faces. Not from cold, from the complete absence of heat, the absence of struggle, the space where life stops fighting.
Weapons status.
Targeting systems are failing, Admiral. They're registering inevitability as incoming ordnance. Every targeting computer is trying to calculate defense against something abstract.
Zyrathal watched her tactical display show something impossible. Something massive was manifesting in Earth's quantum substrate. Not a weapon, not a ship, not even a life form in any recognizable sense. Presence itself taking form.
He's here. Death is here, and you really should leave.
Then, from Earth's surface, something ancient and patient began to rise.
Admiral, global neural activity just spiked to 800% baseline. Every human on the planet just stopped.
In her laboratory, Mara felt the shift through her consciousness probe like ice water in her veins. 8 billion voices, screaming children, speech-making politicians, singing crowds, all fell silent in the same instant. Not unconscious, not dead, listening.
Oh God, he's coming.
The silence spread like a shockwave. In Mumbai, a child's cry cut off mid-breath. In New York, a taxi driver's curse ended between syllables. Across Earth's surface, 8 billion humans stood motionless, their consciousness flowing like water towards something vast and patient, rising from humanity's collective unconscious. Admiral Zyrathal watched gravitational anomalies ripple outward from Earth's core.
Status.
Fleet-wide systems failures, Admiral. Weapons won't lock. Shields they're trying to defend against the concept of ending, against inevitability itself.
Zyrathal felt her carapace crack under pressure that shouldn't exist. Psychic weight bleeding through dimensions. She'd conquered 47 species, faced down war fleets and biological weapons and species that could manipulate matter with thought alone. But this was different.
They're not defending themselves. They're calling something.
In London's Hyde Park, beneath an ash tree older than the city itself, a child opened her eyes. But the gaze that looked out held weight, the accumulated finality of every human death across 200,000 years. She smiled, and leaves swirled around her feet without wind.
Hello, my little ones have been telling me about you.
Mara's consciousness touched the edge of the manifestation and recoiled. This wasn't symbol. This wasn't metaphor. 8 billion humans had synchronized completely, and their collective acceptance of mortality had given it form. Death himself had answered humanity's call.
Admiral, whatever you're planning to say to him, be very, very careful.
The Avatar tilted its head, studying the fleet with curiosity that predated stars. Temperature readings across every ship plummeted 15 degrees, not from cold, but from the absence of heat, the absence of struggle, the space where life stops fighting.
You've come to take what's mine. How sweet.
He's looking at us. He's actually looking at us.
All weapons. Fire everything we have.
Nothing happened. Death's smile widened.
Shall we talk?
The Avatar rose to its full height, stretching from Earth's surface to the edge of atmosphere. Not one form, but every form, every human who'd ever died, compressed into impossible presence. Faces overlapped in infinite regression, young and old, every culture and era flowing together. The words didn't come through sound. They simply existed in every consciousness, every mind, every living thing within 10 light years. Final breath and last word, and the moment between heartbeats all at once. Admiral Zyrathal's carapace shattered at 3 stress points. Around her, officers collapsed as existential understanding flooded their nervous systems too fast to process.
Immediate withdrawal. We cannot fight.
Cannot, Admiral. You misunderstand. There is no fight.
In her laboratory, Mara Chin felt something tear inside her consciousness. The neural probe was burning through her temples, channeling too much, demanding too much. 8 billion minds flowing through one human brain. She was dying. The connection was killing her, and she understood. Humanity's salvation required sacrifice. Someone had to channel death's voice. Someone had to bridge the gap between mortality and manifestation.
Dr. Chin, your neural patterns are fragmenting. You need to disconnect.
Mara's hand stayed on the interface crown. Through her probe, she felt death himself, patient and ancient, waiting for her choice. Let go and live. Hold on and give humanity its protector.
Look at them. 200,000 years, Admiral. 200,000 years of accepting me, making peace with me, choosing me.
Zyrathal watched her crew collapse, not from attack, but from comprehension. Humanity had weaponized the one universal constant. They'd befriended their own ending.
You conquer through fear of death. You tell species, submit or die. But what happens when you meet children who already chose death, who made art from it, who gave themselves to me willingly?
Space contracted around the invasion fleet as presence intensified. Not threat, inevitability itself, manifesting in 3-dimensional space.
They're mine, Admiral. Always have been, always will be. And I protect what's mine.
In her laboratory, Mara Chin felt her consciousness fragmenting. Blood ran from her nose, her ears. The neural crown was burning through her scalp. She was dying to maintain the connection. But through her failing vision, she saw the fleet signatures on her display beginning to move.
Tell your matriarchy. Tell them humans belong to me. Tell them I've waited billions of years to find a species that chose me willingly. Tell them I won't lose them now.
The avatar began to fade, its message delivered. Silence. Not the cosmic silence of 8 billion synchronized minds, but the terrible intimate silence of one life ending. Her assistant's scream seemed to come from very far away. The laboratory lights dimmed as power systems fluctuated. On her console, 8 billion consciousness signatures flickered, momentarily directionless without their conduit. For 3 eternal seconds, Dr. Mara Chin was simply gone. Then 8 billion humans felt it simultaneously. Their conduit, their guardian, their voice, dying.
Neural activity ceasing. Medical team to Lab 7, code black.
But 8 billion humans felt it in the same instant. The woman who'd bridged their collective consciousness, who'd channeled death himself to save them all. And 8 billion humans made a choice. In Mumbai, a surgeon's hands glowed with impossible light. In New York, an old man felt decades of illness burn away. Across Earth, 8 billion minds reached through Mara's failing probe and gave back what she'd given them. Mara Chin gasped, her heart restarting with a jolt that arced through her entire nervous system. The neural crown clattered to the floor. Around her, monitors flatlined and then surged back to normal readings.
Dr. Chin, your vitals you were dead. For 11 seconds, you were clinically dead.
Mara laughed, tears streaming down her face, tasting copper blood in her mouth.
I know. I felt him. I felt death himself, and he...
She couldn't finish, couldn't explain what it meant that death had let humanity save her, that he'd permitted his children to pull their guardian back from the edge. Above Earth, the last alien ship engaged its FTL drive. Silence returned to orbital space. 8 billion humans drew breath simultaneously, released from their collective trance, returning to mundane life, unaware they'd just reshaped galactic history, unaware they'd sacrificed one of their own to protect them all, unaware that she'd been given back. Mara Chin sat in her ruined laboratory, surrounded by burned-out equipment and the smell of overloaded circuits, and felt humanity's gratitude washing through her like a warm tide. They were safe. They were his. They were home. Dr. Mara Chin woke in a military hospital bed, her skull wrapped in bandages, her neural interface ports sealed with medical foam. Sunlight streamed through windows that showed clear blue sky. Empty sky. The aliens were gone.
You've been unconscious for 18 hours. Do you remember what happened?
Mara remembered dying, remembered 8 billion minds flowing through her consciousness, remembered standing at the edge of an infinite abyss and feeling death himself, patient and ancient, gently pushing her back toward life with something almost like affection.
Yeah, I remember.
Her secure tablet showed 847 missed calls from Defense Coalition Command, the UN, and about 15 different intelligence agencies. But there was one message flagged urgent priority from Ambassador Chen. They're not attacking, they're apologizing. Mara pulled herself out of bed despite the nurses' protests and logged into the defense network. The past 18 hours had been busy. 14 civilizations had made first contact with Earth, all peaceful, most apologetic. The Kareth Dominion had transmitted a formal apology for considering hostile action. The Vrexian Empire requested permission to study humanity's consciousness manifestation protocols. 3 species had asked, very politely, if humanity would consider establishing diplomatic relations. And the Shard Matriarchy had transmitted one simple message, broadcast across all frequencies. Sol system designated forbidden. Threat level, Omega. Humans belong to death. Mara laughed until tears ran down her face. They'd gone from unknown primitives to the galaxy's most terrifying species in less than a day. 6 weeks later, she stood before the UN Security Council and delivered her final report.
The invasion fleet retreated at maximum velocity. Admiral Zyrathal suffered complete psychological collapse. Her command staff reported similar trauma across all 73 ships. They won't be back.
And the other civilizations?
Watching, learning. 14 species have made friendly contact. 27 more are observing from a distance. The galaxy just learned that humanity has an unusual relationship with mortality.
Will they try again? Different species, different tactics.
Mara thought about Death's final words, patient, certain, absolute.
Counselor, every species in the galaxy fears death. We're the only ones who chose to befriend it. That makes us either the bravest species they've ever encountered or the most insane.
Which one is it, Dr. Chin?
Both. Definitely both.
Outside the UN building, life continued with beautiful mundane normalcy. People rushed to work, complained about traffic, fell in love, raised children, living their lives with casual certainty that when the end came, they'd face it the way humans always had. Together, with acceptance, making meaning from mortality. Mara touched the scar tissue on her temples where the neural crown had burned through her skin. She died for 30 seconds, channeling 8 billion minds and death himself. And humanity had pulled her back, worth it every second. Her tablet chimed with a new message. Priority diplomatic channel, Shard Matriarchy encryption. Against protocol, Mara opened it.
Dr. Chin, I am Admiral Zyrathal. I am recovering. My physicians tell me I will likely never command a fleet again. that my understanding of reality has been fundamentally altered. They are correct. I have a question, if you will permit it. What is it like? Living with absolute certainty that you will die? How do you move forward, knowing the end is inevitable?
Mara stared at the message for long minutes. Then she typed,
Admiral, you have death backwards. We don't live knowing we'll die. We live because we'll die. It makes every moment precious, every connection meaningful, every day a gift we didn't earn but received anyway. We're not brave because we accept death. We accept death so we can be brave about everything else. Also, he says hello. Death says hello. I don't know how I know that, but I do. He's always there, just at the edge of consciousness, waiting, patient. And when I meet him again someday, I think I'll be okay with it, because he takes care of his children.
For just a moment, she felt it, that patient, ancient presence at the edge of perception. Not threatening, not demanding, just there, watching over his favorite children with something that felt almost like pride. Mara smiled and went back to work. Above Earth's atmosphere, satellites tracked 700 civilizations watching, learning, updating their xenological assessments. The galaxy had learned something that would reshape diplomatic policy for millennia. Humanity had befriended death itself, and death protected what belonged to him. On Earth, 8 billion humans went about their mundane lives, unaware they'd just become the galaxy's most protected species, all because they'd made peace with the one thing no one else could accept. And somewhere, in the space between heartbeats, in the pause before final breath, death smiled at his favorite children with patient, eternal affection. They'd chosen him, made him theirs, given him purpose after billions of years of solitary waiting. In return, he'd given them something no other species possessed, the freedom to live without fearing the end. A fair trade, he thought. A very fair trade indeed.